Brad, the same question. In your opinion, what changes, if any, need to be made to the city's existing zoning code?
Well, in my opinion, if there are going to be any changes to the zoning, I'd want it to be better than what it is currently, or what it is currently in place. There's a great example of how you'd want to re-engage the citizens. I would want to hear from them. I want to know their thoughts and concerns on any decisions that need to be made regarding the zoning process. Additionally, the biggest part of that is we have a plan commission in place, and they're made up of Columbia volunteers, and I look to them for their input. Now, from a sustainability standpoint, now it's kind of an ever-evolving thing. When zoning is in place, you look at your green space, you look at various things. When I was an alderman, I led an initiative along with Mr. Ogney to bring the city current code up to the IBC, which is the International Building Code. By implementing this, it means the city we're going to have stricter building codes and life safety requirements. I've lived in Columbia for almost 13 years, and because of that, Main Street today looks completely different than it did when we first moved here, and I'm proud of that. This is because we have developers who have had a vision for restoring the town, and like I've stated before, it's a good start, but we definitely have more work to do. Thanks.
Thank you, Brad. Brad, we'll start again this question with you. Economic development seems to be a double-edged sword for many people. Some like it and some don't. Please explain the role of economic development and the positive impact it does or doesn't have on Columbia's quality of life. Well, like I said at the beginning, I'm going to set the record straight again. I'm not against development. I never have been. Some have said that to be against, development, or it just isn't the case. As a business professional and an architect and professional planner and project manager, it's important to me to help our community to grow. And I think that when we move forward, as Columbia moves forward, it's important to focus on bringing that business into Columbia. Looking at the Maverick technologies, looking at the Budnick convertings of the world. I think it's important to bring those types of jobs into our town so that we can maintain that quality of life. It's very important that just going around when I'm talking to citizens over the past several months, many people love the way this town is. That's why they've moved here. It's very important, and I will fight for that. It's very important to me that we maintain that quality of life. So I would like to say that business is important. Residential growth is going to happen. Businesses will come with the residential growth and vice versa. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. Kevin, the same question. Please explain the role. Please explain the role of economic development and the positive impact it does or doesn't have on Columbia's quality of life.
Economic development is crucial. For the last 10 years, both as alderman and as mayor, I have supported economic development. I've supported growth in Columbia. I've worked with builders, I've worked with developers, and we have seen successes, we've seen some not so successful times. My opponent, when he ran in the aldermanic election, he said that he was anti-TIF, yet he praises Budnick and he praises Maverick Technologies. They wouldn't be here without the TIF district. They wouldn't be here without incentives. Both of those operations brought great citizens to this city. They brought economic dollars for the quality of life to this city. They are wonderful supporters of our civic organizations. And so when you look at quality of life and you look at the types of businesses that you're bringing to towns, you want to bring those family-run businesses. You want to bring those businesses that are going to be supply services and or jobs to your citizens. And unfortunately, in today's society, they don't just come because you're a great community. They make business decisions, and the economic part of that decision is the business decision, and we have to be competitive players in that field. Does that mean give away the bank? Absolutely not. But it does mean that you need to be aware of what businesses need. You need to understand the business environment. You need to work with businesses, and you need to discuss and negotiate with them on what I would call a win-win for the city of Columbia and for the citizens of Columbia. When you say economic development and quality of life, obviously a lot of the quality of life things that we have are an outstanding fire department, an outstanding police department, outstanding emergency services with the ambulance. Those are not cheap, those are not free, and they are funded by our property tax dollars. So sometimes we have to give a little to get those property tax dollars in town. So we have better fire engines, we have better fire equipment for the guys to use, we have more officers and better police cars to increase the safety and to make the citizens feel safe in the city of Columbia. So economic development, bringing in business, absolutely, positively affects the quality of life in a proactive way for Columbia.
Thank you, Kevin. Kevin, we'll begin with you on our fourth and final question. We constantly hear how taxes are too high, yet city services are dependent on taxes to maintain these services without affecting the quality of life in Columbia. Are there other funding sources besides real estate and sales tax? And how can the city increase its revenue for all funding sources?
Yes, there are other funding sources. We have everything from grant possibilities. We have some of the other taxes, the use tax, the utility tax come along with the businesses and come along with the residential, so they kind of go hand in hand. We have motor fuel tax. The use tax and motor fuel tax is a tax that is based off of a per capita base, so obviously as the city grows and our per capita grows, we will get growth in those areas. But I think one of the big focuses that we've been looking at during these downtimes, as the school board had mentioned, with lower equalized assessed values and our property tax dollars not being as readily available, is we have looked at the state and federal funding and other fundings out there. We have used our tools, as Alderman Nemeth said, without having the plans that we have in place. We a lot of times don't even qualify for the grant opportunities out there. So we have opened up to our department heads and told them that we want them to eagerly seek out and search grant opportunities. With that being said, we were able to purchase the Legion Park off of an OSLOD grant. That open space land acquisition grant gave us the ability to save the citizens over $170,000 and also gave us the ability to perpetuate a quality of life that has been a part of Columbia for years with the American Legion. The different events we have around town. I know Jackie Houseman has done an outstanding job working with local businesses and local residents, so we can still have our festivals, we can still have our events. We've been asking for sponsorships and asking for other ways to fund these quality of life issues and getting the community more involved, getting people more involved. So in 2010, we received an Outstanding Community Volunteerism Award. A lot of that money was raised by those different organizations, but it stayed here in Columbia, so it wasn't tax dollars. It was money raised by the Kiwanis for educational programs that assisted the award that we heard about, the Parkview School getting. It was the schoolhouse renovation that was the school using their assets and their talents to help build it, yet once again, our Community and Economic Development Coordinator worked with Mr. Patton and Mr. Schran to get grants to help build that one-room schoolhouse, and now we have three, well, we've always had, but we have 3 one-room schoolhouses in the town. So, I guess, are there other funding? Absolutely. Have we tapped into them? Probably not as well as we could. I'm sure there's other funding possibilities out there, and we're constantly searching for more. So I think that property tax, sales tax, it's always going to be there. We have to work on smart commercial growth to increase those so, we can, continue with the quality of life that we have. But when those numbers are down, we definitely find ways to bring the community together, to work with different organizations throughout the community to make sure that the people are getting involved, and that the more people are involved, the better the quality of life and the better Columbia becomes. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Brad, the same question. Are there other funding sources besides real estate and sales tax, and how can the city increase its revenue for all funding?
Well, I'm sure there are more than I'm probably going to mention, but the motor fuel tax, the sales tax, all of that is very important, but we need to look for other possibilities. I'm sure we could use our resources at the state level, as well as some of the connections that we have locally. But what I do, if we look at one in particular, if you look at TIP and how it's properly supposed to be structured, it is a good tool for economic development. However, it should not be used for blighted areas, and that is where the majority of it is abused. There are other alternatives that could be considered to entice developers to locate here, and we can use several people. The economic developer in our city can help us with that. We do need business. There's no question about it. I think it's very important, like I said earlier, to bring business here. Our services benefit from that. We benefit from the taxes. And I think that over the last 6 to 8 years that my opponent has been in office, he could have passed anything he wanted to, and I've stated that before. But we still do not see the growth that we should be seeing. And I think it's very important that we do everything in our power to look at those alternatives and explore as many possibilities as we possibly can. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. At this point, we'll go to the closing statements. And Brad, we'll start with you, and the closing statements will be allowed 3 minutes.
When elected mayor, I will bring to the city a college graduate with an architectural degree, experience of a project manager, most of all a clear and open mind. As your mayor, you deserve a leader who will remind the citizens to seek the best within themselves, who will protect the city's past while planning for its future, who understands that we have different opinions but can still respect each other, and who will bring honesty, integrity, and transparency back to City Hall. The time is now. It's time for a change, and it's time to re-energize and re-engage the citizens of our town. Thank you again for attending this evening, and I hope to have your support on April 9th. My name is Brad Oberkfell, and I am your candidate for Columbia Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Kevin?
All right, first of all, I do want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and for 10 years serving the city and all the different civic organizations that I have worked with. It truly is an honor to be out in the public and get to know everybody and to know, what we can do as a whole to make the city better. And that's what I have seen over the last 8 years, is the city just seems to get better and better. I would have to disagree. I think we're doing far better than most communities in the area when it comes to residential and commercial growth. While everybody else was stymied, we had 50 new home starts last year. While everybody else was watching businesses fold and fail, we have a Main Street that hasn't looked better. We have festivals. We have, they're having special events and shutting down streets because people are coming to Columbia to have dinner and to celebrate this great community that we've built over the last couple of years. I would like to continue being your mayor and continue taking that to the next level. I have seen where, through proper planning, through purposeful planning, we have had great results in the city of Columbia. I would have to disagree with you, Alderman Oberkfell, or Mr. Oberkfell, but when you were alderman, a lot of these things that you stated, you voted against. You stated that, you were in favor of economic development. You voted against the economic development coordinator. You stated that you were for transparency. You voted against adopting the Freedom of Information Act. You voted against releasing executive session minutes. All of these things that you've said that you've been in favor of and that you say that you support and that you say that you want to bring to City Hall, when you were there, you voted against them. And for the last 2 years, we have been prospering, and we've been doing very well. We've come together. We're working towards a common goal. The citizens have become more engaged, and we really are seeing a bright, bright future. We're doing better than the other communities around us. I know this from serving on the Illinois Municipal League and serving with the East-West Gateway Council of Government. I get to talk to the other mayors, I get to talk to the other people in the region and throughout the states, and the City of Columbia is doing very well. And I want to thank you all for your support over the years. I hope I have your support into the future. The election is April 9th, and I ask you to elect Kevin Hutchinson mayor, and I look forward to working with you for another 4 years. Thank you all very much for coming out tonight.